Are you an athlete who would like to maximize your performance to succeed at the top level? Head on over to my website at jacobandre.com and book a free 15-minute discovery call to discover if and how I can help you. G'day and welcome to the Mind Your Body Show, episode number 71. Today I'm speaking to Ryan Nyhuis. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, mate. It's good to be here.
What did we interrupt today for you?
Not much. Timed it in well coming home from work. I'm a year 10 teacher, so I was able to knock off early, just doing some boring chores around home. And yeah, setting
What
up
are
for
those?
this.
What are those boring chores? What are you supposed to be doing?
I've been away the last couple of weekends, so just the tedious cleaning of the car. Kind of, I reckon that's a good indicator of how sorted your life is. If your car's a mess, probably means like you're struggling at the moment. But if you can get your car clean, it means you're on top of everything else. That's my theory, anyway. So I'm
I
trying to
like
get
that.
that trying to get that clean. How's your car looking?
Well, actually, it does need a clean. The outside of it, I reckon, is about like a centimeter deep in dust, and the
Oh,
inside, I've cleaned it all out, but it needs a vacuum. And I've just got these new sheepskin seat covers actually last week. That's so comfortable.
nice. Yeah, I was
Um,
more so referring to the inside, the interior. If the interior is clean, I reckon like that's a good sign. You got your stuff together.
Boy, how good is a car though that's like freshly vacuumed and had like armor all like wiped down on all like the surfaces? Like
Yeah,
it's so nice.
it's a nice feeling. Add
I
those
went, I went.
sheepskin covers as well, and then you laughing.
I actually went and got my car professionally cleaned at one of those like car washes, like
Oh,
Casuarina car park, and it cost like over $300. But man, it was immaculate. It was like the
yeah.
car was brand new. I highly recommend it.
All right. Noted. If I can't get my life together, I'll be hitting them up.
Talk about having a dirty car. Is your car dirty because you've been out doing lots of camping? Because I know you love your camping. You love your drones and getting your footage,
Yeah.
and you love the outdoor lifestyle of the Northern Territory. Is that why the car is dirty?
I wish that was the case. My partner's got a four-wheel drive as well, so we tend to take that out and do most of our exploring with her Hilux. But um, no, it's just laziness, I think. Unfortunately, I haven't got around to washing it in a while either, so it's probably the next step. But no, you're right. Unfortunately, it's starting to heat up now, so I think the drone footage is going to slow down a little bit going into the wet season. But yeah, I do enjoy getting out and exploring our backyard. We're pretty fortunate to live where we are or where we do, and yeah, trying to make the most of it.
Where's your favorite camping spot, or is that a secret?
Um, we actually went to Surprise Falls. I think my last drone video I put together was from Sandy Creek, Surprise Falls. That's just got a fair bit of sentimental value, I guess. We used to go there every second weekend as a family growing up with me and my brothers. So yeah, that's definitely up there for sure.
And you mentioned that you've just come home from school. You're a year 10 teacher. Why did you get into teaching, and what's it like?
Uh, yeah, I got into it. I don't know. While I was playing footy, we obviously have to, at that top level, a lot of our time is spent out in the community doing clinics and engaging with young people, and something just came pretty naturally to me, and something I really enjoyed, and um, get a kick out of seeing kids grow and learn something, and something, yeah, something I really value, and get a lot out of, and it motivates me. So I guess that's probably where that came from. Even before footy, like once I finished school, I was working in primary schools with special needs kids, and similar thing, just kind of so rewarding, seeing them grow and learn and take steps forward. So yeah, that probably just carried me through, into uni, and kind of set me on this path initially. Um, in terms of the enjoyment and how I'm finding it. It's my first year out of uni, so I'm definitely learning a lot. Still very raw, and I guess at that age as well, like teaching year 10s. I don't think any university can prepare you for dealing with 15-year-old girls and the drama and the fights and the stuff, the things you have to deal with, I guess that comes from that, on a weekly basis. Keeps you on your toes, but yeah, it's no, I'm enjoying it. I've got a good crew and a good class, so yeah, enjoying it.
So there's probably going to be some students listening to this episode, and I work at a school right near the school that you work at. So
Yeah.
what advice do you have for those year 10s as well as those year 11s and 12s in life, just in general?
In
Yeah.
life, it's a good question. I mean, you got to take your opportunities, I think, in everything you do. Chris Anstey, former NBA player, came and spoke to my class actually just about, um, you know, opportunities. You can't prepare for opportunities. Often the first jobs you make or the connections you make are by chance, and you just got to be open to those things occurring. So I talk to my kids a lot about it. In terms of that engagement and being motivated and just being open to trying new things. The school that I work at, there's plenty of opportunities. We do work placement, we go out. There's a lot of life skill aspects to the school, or the model that my school values. And so probably my advice is just being open to trying new things. You never know where that'll take you, and the people you'll meet from being open, is invaluable.
Yeah. So this show is called the Mind Your Body Show, and I'm interested to know, how do you mind your body these days? And what I mean by that is, how do you look after yourself? What do you do these days to look after yourself?
Yeah, so a lot of football, a lot of my fitness and workouts and programs revolve around that, and competing, at a high level, Premier League footy in NT. So yeah, I guess at the moment we're training 3 times a week. It's pre-season for us up here. I played a handful of games in Cairns in the off season, just to tick the legs over and keep the skills relatively high or good. But most of my prep, obviously a bit of strength work during the week, but a lot of it just flows into training at the moment. A lot of the load comes from that. We're training Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, down the road. So yeah, that's keeping me busy at the moment and wearing me out already.
All right, let's go back and hear the Ryan Nyhuis story. So take me right back to childhood. Where did it all begin, and how did you end up where you are today?
Yeah, I was born up here, so I'm a Darwin kid, born and bred. Did my whole schooling up here, just down the road at Marara College. So
All of it from grade one
yeah,
through. Yeah.
yep. Transition to year 12, which is a long stint, and I think I was ready. Yeah, I was definitely ready to get out of there earlier than year 12, to be honest. But mum worked there, so we didn't have much say, and she was keeping a close eye on us, me and my brothers. So we couldn't venture too far, unfortunately. But yeah, had a pretty normal childhood, very fortunate, very encouraging, supportive parents. Me and my brothers have always gotten along, so very fortunate in that regard. So I guess just moved around, a few places in Darwin. Always played footy up here. And just adventured around, plenty of camping, going out to Manton Dam, jet skiing, just doing boy things, and navigating, I guess, life and school. From there, in terms of the football journey, I kind of came through the junior program at Nightcliff. I started there as a 13-year-old. Kind of worked my way up through the junior system until I was about 18. Started playing Premier League footy, and from there, kind of bit of timing and growth and development at the right time, and yeah, kind of ended up on an AFL list. Went through had a really good year as a 19-year-old at Nightcliff, just as a lockdown defender, playing on some high profile, ex-AFL players that would come up, and kind of building a resume and that way. And then had a season in the NEAFL. We were fortunate enough to win the NEAFL Premiership that year under Xavier Clark, and some few, big territory names floating around in that side, and obviously took a lot from that. And from there, as I said, timing was, play some good games at the right time, and some, when the recruiters were obviously floating around, and when was it, 2015, 2016? It was like a long time ago now. Was lucky enough to get picked up by Freo in the rookie draft, and that was kind of, I guess that's the end of my initial Darwin, my childhood, I guess, up until that stage. But that's kind of a snapshot, I guess, of my life growing up in Darwin.
Well, let's dive in there. So how old were you when you played your first Premier League game?
I would have been 17 or 18. And it wasn't really, like, soccer was my priority, my main sport, really, until I was 16 or 17. I wasn't actually very good at footy. I was playing in a forward pocket, at one stage playing Div 2 under 16s, just battling away, like, was probably a bit timid and scared. As I said, soccer was probably my preference at that stage. And then, I don't know what clicked. My parents talk about it a bit, but I think going back to the soccer season, I was playing in the NT side, and we played in the 18s or the men's grade, and came across a lot bigger bodies, and just got used to that contact. And I think from there, I just something clicked, and I was able to put some good seasons together, and pretty much went from being a Div 2 16s player to an under 18s captain, and making the rep side, and building some good training habits, and learning how to get the best out of myself. Probably from that 17, 18 onwards. To answer your question, I was about 17 or 18 when I got the call up, and Damien Hale was the coach at the time. A lot of boys have moved on from Nightcliff since then, but those were important years, I guess, in my footy development, for sure.
So what local club were you playing for when you were playing soccer?
I was at Mindle Aces, probably from under 14s through to Premier League. Like, I was playing Premier League there as well. Kind of got to the point where you're 17 or 18, you can't really, your body can't cope, or you don't have enough time to commit to both. So ended up choosing the footy pathway, I guess, in terms of the rep stuff, just based on like facilities and, I guess, potential pathways. Obviously soccer's an international game, and I just thought, the funding that was going into NT Thunder and the junior program at that stage was a lot better, or there was a lot more opportunities going down that path.
Yeah, I've interviewed a few local footballers in the previous episodes: Anthony Vallejo, Ryan Nyhuis, Aaron Motlop, and they talk about that NEAFL Premiership, particularly Aaron, who I think was the captain. Am I correct? That year. Yeah. So what was that like, being involved with that group?
It was great. As you said, there were some great leaders amongst that group. There was a real club feel, I guess. A lot of boys would refer to that NT Thunder club as their club, their club of choice, or their childhood club, I guess, over the NTFL side. And Xavier Clark was able just to build a really good culture, one where, boys were playing for each other, even though they'd been playing, a lot. The core group had been playing together for a long time. I think he was able to just build something special with that group in particular. As I said, there's some really good leaders. Cameron Islets, Aaron Motlops, who played a lot of league footy by that stage, that were there just to, help us younger boys with that transition. And, I kind of felt comfortable walking into that environment. I didn't feel, overwhelmed or intimidated by those older boys, and it's probably a good sign of leadership. But yeah, it was it's something I look back on fondly. I've got a signed jersey somewhere from that premiership game, and it was the game. That grand final itself was. We talked about that for a while as well. Just I think they did have a kick after the sign to win the game, so could have been a very different experience, and I guess that's footy a lot of the time. But I look back, and similar to those first years of Premier League footy at Nightcliff, that really helps shape my development and set me up well for the structure and the discipline required at that level. Kind of helps set me up for what would be a couple of years on an AFL list. Yeah.
What were the biggest things you took away from your time at Nightcliff in terms of what were they doing that it allowed you to, develop and go from Div 2 under 16s through to Premier League and then ultimately getting drafted to the Dockers? And what strategies were in place to help develop you? And what do you put it down to that, that's a big jump in your performance?
Yeah, it is. I think, Damien Hale is renowned for playing juniors and giving juniors time to develop at that top level. Every coach is different, I guess, but he especially put a lot of time into, those younger boys. Even if they weren't ready, he would, he would allow you just to find your feet and get comfortable. You didn't have to worry about, putting 4 or 5 great games together or getting dropped. You could have a poor game, get that feedback, and he'd back you to make those adjustments the following week. So, once, as I said, when I probably started playing Premier League footy, I probably wasn't quite ready. Like, I'd definitely grown a lot and found that confidence within myself, but I probably wasn't, Premier League material initially. And I guess the roles, especially in my role, you got to trust that I'm able to do those and play, shut down those, influential players. So, I got a lot of trust from him just to execute those roles, and it's probably enough pressure on me, and I just learnt to, to cope with that pressure and, execute game day. But, that probably played a big role in that development, I guess. Just, him having the confidence in me to perform on game day probably instilled a lot of self-confidence in myself. And, from there, I was able to just keep growing and having that, that healthy trajectory. Kind of set me up for NEFL, and then, flying on into that AFL system.
So you mentioned that you played a shutdown role on some former AFL players. Do you remember some of the names and can you share who they were?
Stephen Milne was probably the biggest one I'd played on up here. I think he came and played for St. Mary's. And that was probably my first big role. And at the time, I think he'd only been out of the AFL system a handful of years. So he was still, a pretty big name to have up here, and not quite on Eddie Betts' level, but similar, kind of brought that, brought spectators down and had that X factor about him. So, I don't know how well I slept those nights leading up to that, but he was probably the main one. Definitely, Ross Tungatalum and some of those flary, Indigenous players up here as well. I'd often, have to go to them. We played the St. Mary's and the Tiwis, and just try and nullify their influence and um, take them out of the game. But yeah, Stephen Milne was probably the main one. And then I guess once you got to that NEFL level, you're playing against the Sydney Swans reserve side and the GWS reserve side, Brisbane reserve side. So there was some handy listed players in those squads as well that, yeah, I'd be able to do a job on, or was assigned to do a job on.
Are you an Aussie rules footballer who would like to maximise your performance to succeed at the top level? My Australian Rules Football Dynamic Group Coaching Program is a 12-phase program that has been curated from my 15 plus years working as a strength and conditioning coach with local footballers right through to AFLW players at Adelaide and Richmond. To get instant access to my Australian Rules Football Dynamic Group Coaching Program, simply head on over to jacobandre.com/Australian-rules-football. So from your experiences playing at Nightcliff as a junior and then through to Premier League and then the NEFL Premiership, you then were drafted to Fremantle Dockers. Tell me about that moment finding out. Actually, but before that, were you talking to any clubs before that, before you had your name read out?
So after the NEFL Premiership, myself and a couple of other young boys were invited to the state combine, which isn't like a step down from the national combine, kind of a smaller version of that. We do the beat test. There's recruiters there. I spoke to a handful of clubs that were probably just ticking a box at the time, and hadn't really heard much, after that was said and done. Like, tested pretty well. Had a good 20-meter sprint time, and my vertical was good. So I was happy with how I tested, but wasn't really enough to kind of put my back myself and pencil me in for a list spot, that's for sure. And I don't know when it happened, but at some stage the MT talent manager got a call from Fremantle out of the blue, who was at that state combine, and they basically said that we're coming up to see. To be honest, they were probably up here to see Daniel Rioli, and they just ticking a box and wanted to see me as well. But they ended up coming up, and they had dinner at my house, and like we cooked them a meal, and good meal too. Trying to impress, but so they came up, and
Wait. So question: who cooked the meal? Did you cook the meal, or did your mum cook the meal?
Nah, mum cooked.
What? Do you remember what she cooked?
I don't even think it was the meal. I think they'd just come off the islands, like from seeing or interviewing Daniel, and they had heat stroke, and we had this big, like, outdoor fan, like a mist fan, just on our balcony. I think that was, like, speaking to them years later, like that's all they remember. They probably don't even remember. I probably didn't even say anything that special. They were just like loving this mist fan that we had on the balcony, and I think it was like a potato bacon steak or like some nice steaks or something like that. I don't know, top shelf stuff, but yeah, we're all on our best behavior. But yeah, I think the fan got me a contract, to be honest.
That's classic. I love it. So on draft night, rookie draft. So when you find out it's all official, how'd that feel? What was that like?
Yeah, it's not as elegant as like the national draft. I think back then the rookie draft was a day or two later, so I wasn't expecting to go. I hadn't had really any interest or communication with Rio since that initial interview where they came up. But yeah, I got a call the night before the rookie draft. Basically, from the talent manager from NT Thunder, just saying, "Yep, Rio are probably going to take you tomorrow in the rookie draft." So I was actually working at a primary school up here. Vividly can remember this day. I was just transitioning kids between classes or dealing with some behavioral problems, and looked at my watch thinking, like, far out, like, I'm gonna miss it. This rookie draft's happening online, and they just you just got to keep refreshing your browser because it just, as a team makes their selection, it pops up. So I remember, rushing back to the staff room, just jumping on a laptop. I think it was pick. Where I go. I think I went pick 34 and was it pick 32 or something, and I was just timed it perfectly and refreshed, like, holy crap, this is, Freo's got the next pick. If I'm going, it's happening now. And sure enough, refreshed it, like, name popped up. You kind of go into a bit of shock. Well, I did anyway. And moves pretty quick from there. Lots of phone calls and pretty much, saying goodbye to the staff and all the oldies in there. Just catch you later. I'm out of here. But just my parents came to the school, and I think 2 days later I was on a beach in southern WA with all the other draftees, and straight into it. So it's a whirlwind couple of days. It goes quick, like once your name's called out. So
so was anyone around you when you were sitting on the laptop? Was anyone around? Surely you jumped up.
Nah.
What did you do? Shed a tear? Did you?
No, I didn't cry. I'm not an emotional man, really, but I think I was just in shock. Like I was just couldn't believe that it was actually there. Like my name was there.
Was anyone around?
There was no one else.
Nah,
there was no one there. There was no love. I was just going about it. Like I think they knew, like work knew that I was a chance to go that day, but no, they didn't gloss it up or get all the students in at an assembly or anything like that.
This sounds really disappointing.
I know. I wish it was different, but nah, I don't probably. That's kind of my style anyway. I don't.
Give me something. Surely you fist pumped the air.
Oh,
You just went, yes.
Yeah, I would have for sure. I was by myself, so I would have been carrying on like a girl at a Taylor Swift concert, I reckon. A little bit.
You made me lose my train of thought then with that Taylor Swift comment. What was I going to say? So was Daniel drafted that year in the draft? Daniel Rioli?
Yeah. He went to Richmond in the main draft. It would have been. I think he went top 20 or something like that. Like, yeah. And that was the thing. Like, lots of blokes. You hear stories about blokes speaking at 12, 15 clubs and then not getting drafted. So I think I had reasonable expectations. Like I wasn't banking on getting drafted, that's for sure. Up until, even after they said, "Oh, you're probably going to go tomorrow," I was like, I'll see it. Like I'll believe it when I see it. But he went. Yeah, I'd say he went. I think he went early picks in the main draft. Yeah, he's a gun.
So you get down to Fremantle. Then what's life like?
So I didn't play any like AFL games in my first season. I guess as a rookie, normally the rookie, the point of a rookie contract is to put a year or two of development. Like they're taking a chance really. You'll either, come good, and there's rookies that have played, over 300 games. Like Dave Mundy from Freo was a rookie originally and ended up playing 300 plus games at Freo. So, but for me, it was, I went in pretty skinny. I think I put on 8 kilos or something in my first year. So a lot of gym, which was pretty foreign to me, really. Like we didn't do a lot of it at Empty Thunder. Obviously not at Nightcliff. Just a lot of gym time, just a lot of running, pre-season, hot Perth summers, which probably, didn't impact me as much as it would have, some of the Vic boys that had been drafted, but some long running days and lots of laps of that oval. Still gives me nightmares, but just probably that first season, just a lot of just trying to put good performances together in the waffle in the reserve side at Peel Thunder, and just trying to take on, be a sponge, get as much knowledge and game plan and structure into me as possible. Ross Lyon, who was the coach at the time, is a mastermind in terms of, structures, and his footy IQ is super high. So, but he can also be, hard to read, I guess, at times. So some of those meetings, you're kind of walking in either relaxed and, then all of a sudden, like, you're crapping yourself because he's, firing questions at you. Like, you've got to be switched on in those meetings. So, I guess coming from that NT system, it probably, that took me a while as well. That was probably the hardest thing, just getting used to all the structures, the different, and I guess as a bystander, you probably think it's a simple game, and it can be at times, but at that level, you've got different structures for, different parts of the ground. There's probably 10 to 20 different places you need to be. That's just ball ups. That's not even transitional footy. So that took a lot, probably a year, probably just kind of building that into my game where it became natural and I can just play footy. But I had a similar role. I was drafted as a lockdown defender, so I was playing a similar role in the waffle at the time. I think Freo already had a handy lockdown defender, so it's probably just waiting to push him over as he got too old. But
Who was that? Do you remember?
Lee Spur is his name.
Yeah,
he's a great man. And yeah, it's a unique situation to be in. You're kind of learning from these people, and those guys are mentoring you, and then ultimately you're actually trying to kick them out of the side. So it's definitely a unique environment in that regard.
yeah. So you were at Fremantle at a very handy time for Fremantle. They had obviously a very good coach in Ross Lyon, a very good list, very good team that was playing in the AFL. Took to your second year, correct, to play your debut game?
Yeah.
And your debut game was one of the best debut games in the history of the AFL, in my opinion, and I'm sure in plenty of people's opinions. I won't go as far to say the most memorable, because I think that definitely goes hands down to Marlon Pickett, obviously playing his debut game in the AFL Grand Final. But we'll say the second best debut game. And you went forward, you kicked 4 goals. I remember this game. I actually quite remember some of those goals quite vividly, because it was one of, as I said, the best debut games ever. Tell me about finding out that you were playing, getting your parents there, I think, last minute, and then playing that game.
Yeah, I'll take second best. I think there's been blokes who've got 30 disposals and 3 goals, like some high numbers, but no, it definitely was memorable. I think everyone I speak to about my AFL career that's probably the first thing that comes to mind. It was so I'd been elevated at that stage. You had to be elevated off the rookie list to play due to someone getting a long-term injury. So I'd been able to put together a good block of waffle games leading up to that. And then got elevated, went over as an emergency for a handful of games. Started as an emergency on that trip. So packed my bags thinking, if someone went down, and it's different to today. We didn't have a sub as such. Like, you had to, someone had to get sick or get injured in the warm up, or something to happen prior to the game, prior to that first bounce, if you wanted to play. I found myself in that position a lot as an emergency, just flying without actually playing, which is tough. But so Dave Mundy was flying over with the flu. The club doc had kind of worded me up that, hey, like, he's not well. It's probably worth, this might have been the night before, just kind of going, or that the morning before, just going, hey, like, it's probably a chance, like, to play this weekend. So I kind of got on the phone to mum and dad.
Real quickly, interesting, that's the club doctor saying that and not the head coach, or is that just the way it is?
I think that's pretty standard. I think if you're sick, you kind of, like, you got to be careful, what medication you're taking. Like, he would have been fluids and stuff. He would have been pretty. His communication would have been more so with. I'm sure Ross was aware, but in terms of like how sick he was, I think the club doc, was probably the first thing. At some stage, Ross kind of said, "Hey, like, just be ready," something like that. And yeah, so spoke to mum and dad, kind of said, "Hey, there's a chance, like it's probably worth just jumping on it, and if I don't play, at least or if I do, you're here for it. You don't regret missing it." So they jumped on a red eye. Flew across with my brothers, and that stage, as you said, I went forward. Obviously, got the call up, like, Dave's out, he's too sick, you're in. We're going to play you as a forward, a lockdown forward. It's a similar role, but just trying to negate Robbie Tarrant, who was he was rolling across half back, just kind of doing whatever he wanted. Nothing too, and it happens a lot in the AFL. You get those guys that go forward just to try to stop those dangerous, influential defenders. So, going into that game, I wasn't too, overwhelmed. So I was like, well, it's the same thing I've been doing in the waffle, just at the other end of the ground. If I can stop this bloke's, impact on the game, happy days. But it's fortunate enough. Kind of, they started really, really poorly, and there was just space everywhere. And I was, kind of I remember leading up, it was just, I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. I hadn't trained as a forward, hadn't nailed my set shot routine, anything like that. I was just kind of playing on instinct. But was confident in what I'd done at waffle level. Like, didn't feel out of place. I was like, I'm ready for this opportunity. Led up, got a mark at 40 out. First touch, kicked the set shot goal, and who knows what would have happened if I'd missed. I probably would have just gone into my shell and never played again. But I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. People kind of ask me about it, and it definitely felt surreal. Just everything just fell into place perfectly. I couldn't do that again if I tried it. I don't think. I think it's just a bit of me taking my opportunity, kind of working my ass off to get to that stage, and then wanting to make the most of it. Didn't really feel nervous leading up to it, but kind of kicked some good goals, some crucial goals, couple on the run. I think I kicked the last two for the game, and Todd Goldstein from North missed a sitter that would have that would have won them the game. So similar to the NEFL grand final, the script could have been a lot different, and I was praying that he missed it, because I would have been a different feeling if we'd lost. Would have been harder to celebrate, that's for sure. So ended up kicking 4 goals, and was the talk of the town for a couple of weeks, and was getting plenty of love from the fans, I guess, from my teammates, and obviously mum and dad. There's footage of mum and dad going crazy in the stands with my brothers. So I'm very, very fortunate. A lot of people ask me, whether I was disappointed in getting delisted, but to be able to have that, those memories, and be able to give that, and for my family to have those memories, like, I'll forever be grateful to Freo for giving me that opportunity. Yeah.
I'm glad you bring that up, because there's something I want to ask about, because you never really hear about delisting. You hear about getting drafted, but because obviously delisting is the opposite of those emotions. What was what actually happens in that? How does it all occur?
So, I mean, as a rookie, like, I was on a year-to-year contract. Kind of come the end of the season, I don't know. Everyone's got a manager who's working in the background trying to get you, a year or 2 years, whatever it is, depending on performance and list spots. There's a lot of factors that go into that. But no one really seems to know a lot about getting delisted, I think a lot of the kids especially kind of go, "What, Mister, like, did you retire or did you get fired? Like, why'd you retire? Why aren't you playing anymore?" Yeah, it's not as simple as that, unfortunately. But really, I was kind of going into that last season, and that fourth season for me was fairly difficult in terms of just the messaging and the changing of roles, and I wasn't, the messaging wasn't consistent in terms of what they wanted out of my position. I'd go back and play as a lockdown defender, or as more of a running half back. I think they wanted me to develop a running game. I wasn't offering enough as an attacking defender, so I'd kind of go into the waffle and have a license to run and take off and try to be more damaging, and then I'd kind of get the call up into the AFL side and be reverted back to that lockdown defender role. So it was hard. Yeah, I didn't really have that consistency in my last year, and yeah, probably reached my capacity, I guess, as a player. I was never a gun, so I'd grown a lot in those first 3 years. Probably just got a little bit stagnant in that last, and yeah, you're kind of going into the end of the season without a contract. Your manager's trying to work on something, but yeah, you inevitably just get called in for a meeting, like getting called to the principal's office, and the list manager and Peter Bell are just sitting there, and you kind of know what's coming. Like there was a handful of us that got delisted and got a similar text message, like a doomsday text message going, "Hey, can you come to the club at a certain time?" And yeah, they basically say thanks for your services, good luck, and that's it. Like, you just walk into the locker room, grab your bags, and head out. It's brutal, and it's
Yeah, it sounds
yeah,
tough.
yeah, it is. And it's got to be tough for them as well. But yeah, as a player, you kind of yeah, it's rough. It's the dark side, I guess, of footy, and not many people are aware of it. But I was pretty, as I said, I was pretty content with what I'd done there. It's obviously hard to hear, but I've never really, some blokes live and breathe footy, and that's all they've got in their life. And for me, I've got other values and other interests and other aspects of my life that I was kind of at the stage where I was like, yeah, I think I'm ready to kind of develop those other aspects. And family's obviously important, and you miss out on a lot of those events and birthdays and things like that. Just it's a unique bubble, I guess, that AFL environment. So yeah, as hard as it was, kind of making that transition and hearing that and getting the feedback, as I said, I was content, and there was no bitterness towards Freo. I was very thankful for the connections I'd made, and the growth, and the resources, and all the people that would put time in.
What were some of the most memorable moments of your AFL career outside of that debut game?
Just being able to, just kind of starting and looking over and playing against, or shaking hands, and then trying to lock down some great players like Gary Ablett Jr., Patrick Dangerfield, Eddie Betts, Dustin Martin, kind of being assigned similar to, the Stephen Milne, I guess, role that, back at Nightcliff, kind of got to the stage where I was getting assigned to lock down these, absolute superstars of the game. So I guess in reflection, at the time, I was probably in the back of my head, I'm kind of in and out of the side, like I'm nervous, kind of wanting to impress and play the best footy I can. But yeah, on reflection, like, just, I guess, seeing photos or just looking back and saying, like, yeah, I played on the Dustin Martins and the Gary Ablett Juniors will be something that's definitely a highlight for me. And just little things like I learnt during, playing on goes like that. Like, I remember playing on Eddie Betts, and he's running with his back to the footy, and I'm like, how's this bloke know where the footy is? And I look at him, and he's watching the big screen to see where the ball is. Like, he's not even watching the game, like the actual footy. He's looking at the big screen, going like, all right, like now I need a lead. Or so, just like little things like that. I'm just like, far out.
We've had little conversations personally over the time. What were some of those players like a Gary Ablett Jr. and Dustin Martin, Patrick Dangerfield, to actually play on, like the conversation on the field, and like what were they like?
Oh, I never really had any like back and forth banter or sledging or anything like that. Like, I don't know, as a lockdown defender, you probably avoid getting too lippy, because if like they kick a goal on you, like yeah, you don't really want to fire those blokes up and get under their skin, because they'll probably kick a bag on you and put you back in your box pretty quick. Um, but no, I think all of them, like Eddie's obviously very casual and happy for a chat, and just a friendly guy to play on. I don't think any of those guys that I mentioned were, different to what you'd expect. Gary Ablett was just, serious, kind of elite, top performer kind of on his game. Dangerfield similar. Dusty was, very relaxed, and just, I think at one point we were just like, he just went and stood in the shade at Optus Stadium, just because he didn't want to be in the sun. Like, he was just, this was right before finals too, so yeah, he was just cruising, and then obviously just lit it up. I think that was the first year they won it. Like, we played them in the lead up and we got flogged, but yeah, he was just chilling out on the wing, just having a fat time.
I think I remember you saying to me in regards to Dusty that he didn't talk much. He's lucky he's in the media. He didn't really talk much on the field. He
No,
didn't say anything.
no, he was pretty relaxed. Yeah, he wasn't. He's pretty quiet, I think, on field, off field. Like, it's kind of what you expect from him. Yeah, it wasn't anything different.
So you played on Eddie at AFL. Did you end up playing on him again in the NTFL, post your AFL careers?
I didn't. We did play them. Um, yeah, we played him out at Palmerston when he first had his first season, and he killed us. And I probably should have played on him, but it was early in the season, and I just thought it was an opportunity. I kind of saw we had some young players as well. I thought it was a good opportunity, a good learning experience for them to kind of end a story, similar to myself and Stephen Milne back when I was coming through the ranks. Like, so we ended up giving it to one of our, developing players, and he would have taken more from that experience than I would have. Yeah, it was. I've got a photo somewhere of us shaking hands after that game as well. So, yeah, very, very fortunate to cross paths with a player of his caliber, and yeah, he's a great player. Like, some of the goals he's kicked in his career are unbelievable, and the way he goes about, his life, and given the hardships he's gone through and the racial things that he's had to endure, like, yeah, he's definitely going to be remembered as one of the greats, I think.
I was a fitness coach at Palmerston for 2 years, and one of those pre-seasons, I think it was the second pre-season, Froggy Davey had brought him down to pre-season, and he joined in. And I think that session they were doing some 2 and 3 minute efforts where you just run as far as you can in 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And his running was elite. It was like a midfielder. It was incredible. And just for a guy that played in a forward pocket that you wouldn't think needed to do that much running,
No.
his ability to get to that high intensity, running and hold it was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish those forward pocket players didn't run as much as they did. It would have made my fitness a bit easier. But no, it's a hard position to play, especially at that top level. You got to be, at the back of contest, but you also got to be, front and center to the big tall forwards. So you're constantly moving up and down the ground. You got to be an outlet, coming out of your D50, but there'll be an option, I guess. It's a very hard position to play at the top level. that kind of small half forward role. But yeah, I'm not surprised. He definitely ran me around a fair bit in those encounters at AFL level.
So you're back now at Nightcliff Tigers, the club where it all started for you. You were captain last year. Are you captain again this year?
I think so. To be honest, I haven't had that conversation with our new coach. Yeah, I'll be pushing to captain the side again this year. It's, as I said, that last year at Freo was was hard. I kind of probably lost my passion for playing a little bit in that time. But being able to come back, to my junior club and be able to invest in the club that gave me the opportunity to go to that level has been super rewarding and probably helped me find my passion for playing again. Last year was a great opportunity to captain the side, and I learned so much from that experience, and I'm preseason's going really well this year, and I'll be pushing for that captaincy role again. I'm loving being back and love the challenge of leading a group, and something that probably didn't come naturally to me, that leadership stuff before Freo, but I've been able to develop that over 5 or 6 years now, and learn from some great leaders in the Matthew Pavliches and the Nat Fifes, and just drawing on little things that I've learned from them. Hopefully can leave my own footprint or legacy at Nightcliff in 20 years time, hopefully.
And what are you looking forward to the most from this season?
It's a good question. We were pretty disappointed with how we finished last year. I think definitely, the challenge has been set. We've kind of done the three-peat, and we're almost starting that cycle, not from scratch, but we've got to earn that top spot off. But we're kind of enjoying, just being, not being that top dog this year, and kind of just, working behind the scenes and trying to edge our way back. I'm looking forward to the challenge of winning those premierships again and getting that side back to hopefully playing in big finals and grand finals, and my drive is to be able to lift that cup as a captain would be pretty special. Got a new side this year, plenty of talent coming through, so it's going to be exciting.
Outside of the obvious premiers in Waratahs and Southern Districts who played against them, and of course you can't answer yourself here, what club do you think you need to look out for the most?
I think Tiwi can be dangerous. I think they got, it's hard to tell this early in the preseason. It's probably hard to tell until post-Christmas what sides are actually going to shape up like. I think with McDonald tipping Woody coming back, Michael Baudo coaching at Tiwi, I think he's going to bring a different look for them. So and hoping that they can be dangerous this year and turn it on, because they're exciting to watch when they are or when they can do that. But I think the usual suspects will be up around the mark again this year. I think the Crocs and Tars have built such a good brand that they're not going to go away anytime soon. They're just going to keep gaining good players, and they can just, if one leaves, the other one comes through. So I think they're the benchmark for a reason, and they're playing in the grand final for a reason. And I'm not sure how much talent they've lost in that over the off season, but I'm sure they'll be around the mark again.
Ryan, I just want to acknowledge you for all the work that you do, with juniors as a teacher, but also you do a lot of work with the Nightcliff development squad. They do a 6-week preseason type thing, which I absolutely love. You're a major part of that. You're a mentor to all those guys. You do a lot of work in terms of, supporting and developing. And I want to thank you for your time on the Mind Your Body show. But before I let you go, I just want to go through this 10 in 10. So I worded you up. I've been taking notes as you've been talking. Are you keen and are you ready to go through this 10 in 10?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. First thing that comes to mind, if you want to continue to talk, feel free to do so. It could be a one word, could be a 10-minute answer. It's up to you. Number one, first thing that comes to mind when you think of camping.
Relaxing.
Let's add a little like a 1A to that. Was it Sandy Creek? Where was the place?
Yes, yeah, Sandy Creek.
Yeah, first thing that comes to mind when you think of
that. Campfire.
Number two, teaching.
Lot to learn.
Number three, taking your opportunities.
Crucial.
Number four, growing up in Darwin.
Great experience. Recommend growing up here. Can't beat it.
Number five, soccer.
Fun to play, not worth getting up at 2 a.m. in the morning to watch.
Actually, let's do a 5A on this as well. So if you could make it to the top level of Aussie rules or soccer, which would you choose?
Oh, geez. No, I'd still choose AFL. Obviously, they make, I'm not financially driven, but if I was, it'd be soccer easily. But no, growing up as an Aussie kid, I think, AFL is the dream.
Yeah. No, actually, I think I know the answer, but what club did you grow up going for in the AFL?
Carlton.
I thought so, yeah. What do you reckon about them in 2023?
I mean, after playing AFL, I'm not as passionate as I was before getting drafted. It's kind of weird once you're playing against Carlton, you kind of can't, you can't be a crazy fan anymore. So takes the gloss off it. But no, they're still playing finals. We went down and watched them on the weekend at the G, which was nice. They've been useless since I've been born, so it's nice for my dad especially to see him happy, and after years of misery, it's nice to see them doing well for sure.
Number six, junior development.
Yeah, important for the culture of your club.
Number seven, shutting down I can't even read my writing here. You referred to, I think, flary players. Shutting down the flary, as in lots of flair.
Yep. It's a thankless kind of selfless job, but it's important to have someone who can do it in every team.
Number eight, your debut game.
Fluke, but it'll be a nice story to. It's a nice, party story and story I'll tell my grandkids one day for sure. Get the highlights up.
Number nine, Nightcliff Football Club.
I would say home in one word. I've spent half my lifetime really playing in the yellow and black. So, proud to be the captain of that club. There's some really great people and good volunteers that make that joint very special.
And number 10, this is a generic question which I ask everybody. If you could go forward in time or back in time, knowing that you can come back to now if you would like to, which would you go to and why?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'd go back in time and tell myself to just enjoy the moments, and I'm naturally don't like the spotlight, and I feel I'm a pretty humble guy, but I think just being proud of what you've done and living in the moment and just soaking it up, and not really caring not coming across as arrogant, but just enjoying, acknowledging what you're doing and where you are, and how lucky you are, I guess, to, for lots of reasons, I guess, as an Aussie, but just being able to enjoy that. And I'd just come back and tell myself just to enjoy where you are, and be proud of what you've done, what you've accomplished.
And where to from here for Ryan? What's next?
I'm ready to retire from teaching, but I probably should do that for a couple more years. I'm enjoying the mentor side of it. I want to keep developing my leadership skills, and find good mentors and invest in that side of myself. Obviously play some good footy and get some Nightcliff juniors drafted and win some flags, and as I said, leave a good legacy at that club, and have some fun and play more camping, and enjoying the dry season, I think.
And go and clean that car. Ryan, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so
Thanks,
much
mate.
for your
Thanks
time.
for having me. Thanks for everything you're doing as well. With the young kids, and I know they love having you, and I'm sure you got half of them, listening in. So make sure you're nice to Jacob, kids.
I've never had a thank you back to me at the end of one of these.
You're welcome.
Very grateful.
No problem, mate. Thanks for having me.
What's the most overlooked part of running, but the most important? Your mechanics. My new course, Running Mechanics 101, is a 9-module course which will teach you how to run more efficiently and effectively. For free instant access, simply head on over to jacobandreae.com.